Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. Tonight on World Talks, we analyse the latest developments in Iran, where nationwide protests face deadly crackdowns amid an extended internet blackout. Tensions escalate as US President Donald Trump announces a 25% tariff on any business with Iran, signalling maximum economic pressure. The international community watches closely as Iran's leadership braces for unrest, while diplomatic channels remain partially open. Joining us is Dr. Frank Musmar, Advisory Board member of the Abrahamic Business Circle, to discuss the risks, responses and implications for US and global policy. Dr. Musmar, welcome back to TVP World. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so big picture overview of what's going on right now in Iran, Doctor.
Well, I think that the regime is falling. It's a matter of time. And, it's a normal end result for all these dictatorship regimes, beside the point being Iranians or even Venezuelans or, any other dictatorship. Why? Because at the end, once people feel hungry, feel deprived, they're going to have to express. So the Iranian people are expressing. Now, the government is claiming that, all those protests supported by Israel and the United States, of course, all the regimes globally, once things does not fit them, they claim that there is an outsider somewhere is meddling in their country. But even the protesting that happened against the Shah regime in the 1978, I think, it was because of economy. People get out in the streets once they are hungry.
Well, it started out as, the economy was the trigger, but it has become much broader, and they're calling for regime change, death to the ayatollahs being chanted, stuff like that, and it's nationwide. And it's not the first time that the population has protested, and it's been a bloody protest this time as well. Although numbers are difficult to get hold of because of the internet blackout. But what makes you think that this protest is going to be able to last longer than the previous one?
Well, most dictatorships, they use force, fear. So the Iranian people was under that. And now, after the 12 days war, they felt that the regime is not strong enough. And the entire myth that the Iranian government and Ayatollah, they were selling for the Iranian people since the 1978, that we are against the big Satan, United States and then Israel, and we should be rivals to them, and the nuclear power and abilities, and all that kind of dream that they were selling to the Iranian people, plus expanding their revolution to the Middle East, which is been trimmed over the last year. So the Iranian people is witnessing that the Iranian influence in the Middle East is not there anymore. Plus that after the 12 days war, they witnessed that the Iranian grip, hold on a country does not exist anymore. So based on that, they felt that courage to step out. Of course, over the Iranian history, even, during the Ayatollah control, we had like several protest time, but never had that courage to go out across the country. Another problem that the representation inside the government, the Iranian government does not include all the fractions of the Iranian community. So like, Arab Ahwaz and, Kurds and Azars and even like in the East, Baluchistans, those people are not really represented in the Iranian governments. So, if they have the chance to rise and express their opinions and they would like to feel, that they are free, the country which is really considered a wealthy country with the oil resources, that is not spending their money and resources outside the country for the sake of the Iranian people. They became hungry, water pollutions. They have all kind of problems. Their currency is like is like demolished. So the Iranian person doesn't feel now security, doesn't feel now any economic security, doesn't have any food to put on the table. So
Right.
is that enough for any sort of revolution?
Clearly.
Yes. And just to tell you something, every single revolution start based in economy. Every single protest start based on economy.
Certainly, they have much to protest about. But let's fast forward a little bit, and let's say that the regime falls. Let's say Ayatollah Khamenei does go to Moscow, as is rumoured. He's been offered asylum there. What next? I mean, surely the vacuum would be enormous, wouldn't it?
Not really. Not really. The Iranian people, we're not going to discredit the Iranian people. We're going to give them credit. People in Iran are educated, maybe been controlled too much, with this kind of system. Once you have, or you face a system that you use iron fist, of course, people, will have fear on their lives and all that. A system that, hang people in the street. So we have to understand that, people have fear. But anyway, is the Iranian people considered educated? They have knowledge. Of course, we have to give them credit. At the end, we are not against, in the United States, we are not against the Iranian people. We are against this regime.
Yes, now, but what about the government,
is it going to be like
Doctor?
a transformation of power? It is going to be a transformation of power. Even though, like, people claiming that, Mr. Reza Pahlavi, which is, the crown prince, he resides in the United States, he might be the one leading it. It doesn't mean that he's going to be the king. It just may be a transformation of power, and it's going to take some time.
Well, certainly there are indications that Steve Witkoff, President Trump's Middle East envoy, has had secret meetings with Reza Pahlavi. Do you place any store by those rumours?
Well, actually, I commented in so many media outlets that Mr. Reza Pahlavi, started to appear on media in the last year. It's not recent. So, he's been polished. And actually, if we want to go back to the Pahlavi time, they did really good in the country, but their problem was equal to any petrol-rich state, rich nation, which is like, Venezuela have the same problem. All petrol nations, normally they kind of consolidate the economy in oil, and they start borrowing more and all that. And of course, the market of oil, it kind of fluctuate. And the problem of Venezuela, as an example, they were borrowing, I think in 1980 at $40, and then the prices went down to $10. And of course, that caused the economy to cripple. The Iranian, during the Pahlavi time, during the father of Mr. Reza, they were investing good in economy. And actually, they built too much universities and schools and highways and all that. But they invest too much versus their income of oil, which is actually caused too much inflation, actually hyperinflation, which caused economy problem. So the protest again is the Pahlavi time. The Pahlavi regime wasn't really Islamic revolution. It was like protesting because, or for the sake of economy, because people, were hungry at that time because of the inflation or hyperinflation. And of course, that was used by the mullahs and by the ayatollahs, to transform that into an Islamic revolution. But at that time, it was economy revolution. And now it is an economy revolution based on economy. And actually, even the French Revolution was based on economy. Most revolutions in the world caused by economy.
Understood.
But for the sake of the Iranians,
Dr. Musmar, but I've only got a few minutes left. There's a couple of other questions I need to ask you. President Trump has said to the Iranian people, help is on its way. What do you think that means?
Well, okay. Now, there is a small, small tools that, or little tools that left in the hands of the Iranian regime. So, which is like really giving the grip over the people. So most likely the intervention of the Americans or, allies or whoever is going to intervene in the Iranians situation is going to be like to help those protests or those protesters to gain more advantage over the government. So it's going to be like, hitting, whatever left after the 12 days war that really destroyed most of the tools of the regime hands. So basically, whatever left, like maybe the Basij headquarters, maybe some of the whatever left economy that based on black market that Iran used for the last maybe 4 or 5 years, the Shamkhani troops, the Shamkhani fleets in the black market for the oil, stuff like that. So it's things like take the power and the grip out of the Iranian regime and give more edge or advantage for the protesters.
Right. Now, the other thing that President Trump has done is he's imposed 25% tariffs on goods coming into the United States from any country that does business with Iran. Now, clearly this is not, America doesn't do business with all of those countries, but it does with some of them. How much influence or pressure is that going to put economically on the Iranian regime?
Too much. What's left for the Iranian regime is the black market, which is not going to have a big chance on that. Especially, they sell into, a few countries that we know about, India and China. Food and metals and, some rare earth metals. They sell to Russia, United Arab Emirates, and few countries that they are actually considered alliances to the United States. So will they defy the will of the United States and keep working with the Iranians? I don't think so. As I told you, the United States is trying to trim whatever left in the regime's hands just to help the protesters. So 25% of tariffs, of course, is too much for global business. It's going to have some side effects here and there, based on the stock markets and stuff, especially oil. But in the meantime, it's going to be big deterrence for those countries not to work with the Iranian regime. So that will deprive the regime more. And of course, that will fluctuate the market prices, for food and all that inside Iran, which is going to encourage people to go after the regime more and more.
Right. Now, in the last few seconds that we have left, Doctor, very, very quickly, what about other countries in the region? I mean, Saudi Arabia has traditionally been I suppose, at odds with Iran. Do you think they could play a role in change of government there?
I don't think the Arab countries in the Middle East, especially for the sake of business and business routes and the Hormuz Strait, that they will be willingly to share in any operation that the United States will lead. Of course, the United States is going to use all those bases, American bases in the area, but they'll try to avoid announcing it at least.
Right.
Maybe if it happens through their base. American bases, they're not going to announce it.
Yeah.
Why? Because at the end,
Okay. Unfortunately, Doctor, we're going to have to end it there. But as always, thank you so much for coming along and sharing your analysis with our audience. Have a good evening.
Anytime, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away. Lots more coming up. Goodbye.